There is a misconception that the church only exists for being an institution, particularly in the high church tradition. But actually in the more Catholic side of the Church of England, there's 2,000 years of resources that are actually extremely important in a time of new mysticism. In a time where people are spiritually searching, actually there's something about liturgies that are quite transcendent and super spiritual that actually enable people to encounter something positive. So actually, rather than thinking that the high church is kind of stuffy, there are huge resources. If we're thinking about drawing on the ancient to resource the future, then we have things like labyrinths, Eucharists and all sorts of services like that actually, when reframed into a postmodern context, can be a great resource into encountering God. The challenge for us is actually about engaging people where they are, to actually enable people to encounter a positive experience of Christianity.
The breath of life that permeates the whole of creation.
Moot gives me hope because I think we have a good thing going. I think we have a lot of good ideas, and I think there's a lot we would like to achieve.
It really tries to find out how to live in a sustainable way, how to be close to each other, how to have bonds with each other and have bonds to God. So it's relationality is everything that matters, and I think that's what church is about.
The Eucharist that we share in actually follows the same form and structure that you would get in any Anglo-Catholic church. And that it has a sense of drama. You have the smells and the bells and the sights and the sounds that you would associate with that, including the regalia. But what it also does then is it seeks to reframe that very ancient practice for a modern or postmodern world, so that actually within that you would have things like the use of UV lights, where people can draw and map out their own journeys from that week, songs that are used in the secular kind of domain within that to give it a sense of the sacred. So it has a very kind of contemporary feel, if you liked it, while still maintaining a very ancient form.
I think people in my age group find Moot particularly attractive because of its sensitivity and connectedness to culture. The services will contain elements of popular culture like music videos, symbols that carry a lot of weight and resonance in popular culture. It's very appealing for somebody of my generation.
There are things in contemporary society and the media that I think reveal a renewed interest in particularly ancient Christian practices. I think of television programmes like The Monastery or The Convent. We as a community have been informed by those things as well, and both in drawing up our rhythm of life, seeking to draw on ancient monastic practices, but I think also in looking at actually what it means to have a really deep community who are participating in life together and are seeking to follow Christ authentically, just like, monastic communities, and wondering what that would look like reimagined in the city today.
In cities, I think communities are very important, particularly thinking about faith communities, because cities sometimes can feel a little bit like people cohabiting strangers, where people really desire a sense of intimacy with other people but also fear it. So where I think Moot is very important is a very strong sense of spiritual community, a depth of relationship, where people can actually feel that they're becoming more human as they learn about Christ and become part of a spiritual community. And it's vital that there's that depth, because there's also in Moot something quite distinctive in the sense that we have a lot of people who belong but don't necessarily believe. So there's that balance of depth of relationship that is about being more human as people rediscover and explore who Christ is.